Trucking has served shippers well for decades, but rail offers advantages many companies are overlooking. If you're moving bulk commodities regularly, grain, chemicals, steel, coal, rail could cut your freight costs by 40 to 60% compared to truck. The shift isn't complicated, but it does require understanding how rail works differently. In this guide, we'll walk you through exactly what changes when you transition from trucking to rail logistics. First, let's talk volume. Rail economics work best when you're moving full carloads, typically 90 to 100 tons depending on commodity and railcar type. Trucking is flexible. You can ship partial loads whenever you need. Rail requires consolidation. If you're currently shipping less than a full railcar worth of product per week, you may need to adjust your inventory strategy or partner with other shippers to fill cars. That consolidation is where the cost savings come from. Next, understand the 6 Class 1 railroads that dominate North America: BNSF, Union Pacific, CSX, Norfolk Southern, Canadian National, and Canadian Pacific Kansas City. These carriers control the main lines. Your freight will almost certainly move on at least one of these railroads. Each has different service areas, rates, and equipment. Choosing the right carrier or combination of carriers for your lane is crucial to competitive pricing. Rail transit times are fundamentally different from truck. Cross-country by rail takes approximately 2 to 3 weeks, compared to under a week by truck. But here's the trade-off. That slower speed is paired with dramatically lower per-mile costs. Rail is ideal for planned, steady shipments where you have lead time built into your supply chain. If you need something in 3 days, truck is your answer. If you can plan 2 weeks ahead, rail saves significant money. When you move to rail, you'll interact with rail yards and classification yards instead of truck terminals. Your shipment gets picked up by a rail logistics provider, transported to a rail yard, consolidated with other shipments, then routed to classification yards closer to your destination. At each yard, rail cars are sorted and assembled into trains. This process takes time, typically 24 to 48 hours per yard, but it's how rail achieves those cost efficiencies. Demurrage is a new concept for truck shippers, but it's essential on rail. Demurrage is a per-day charge if your railcar sits at the destination yard longer than the allowed free time, usually 5 days. Once the railcar arrives at your facility, the clock starts. You have that 5-day window to unload. Going over costs you money, sometimes $75 to $300 per day. Plan your receiving schedule carefully to avoid these charges. Documentation changes too. Rail requires a bill of lading specific to rail shipments, not the standard trucking BOL. Rail BOLs include railcar type, commodity code, hazmat certification if applicable, and specific routing instructions. If you're shipping hazmat, chemicals, propane, certain metals, you'll also need Department of Transportation hazmat certification on the BOL. These aren't optional. Railroads won't accept shipments without proper documentation. Making the switch is achievable. Start by analyzing your current freight lanes. Where are you shipping? How much volume? How often? Work with a rail logistics company to identify which of your lanes are rail viable. Begin with 1 or 2 high-volume lanes to build your process. Your receiving team will need training on railcar unloading procedures and demurrage management. Within a few weeks, you'll have a solid understanding of how rail works for your operation. Visit steelwheellogistics.com to discuss your specific shipments and find out which of your lanes can move by rail.